So I am a person who stands by a few principles in my own life. If you've been following me for a while, you're probably well aware of them. But one of the most important things in my life is consistency. Now, there can be good consistency and bad consistency. Like you could use cocaine a lot, and I would say that's probably a bad thing unless you're Hunter Biden and then you have zero consequences in your life. But you know, consistency is not something that our government values, especially when it comes to accountability or holding people accountable. A huge example of this is courts, judges. We heard it all during 2020, 2021. This dude did X that he could be sentenced to 4 years in prison for, yet he was let out and charges were dropped, even though the evidence is crazy. And then we get to situations like January 6th, where people who were simply there in a parade, they get charged and they get sentenced to years in prison just for being a part of a parade, just by taking direction from the highest ranking official in our country. Yet, just by being there, just by being in the courtyard, they're charged and put in prison. So there was another insurrection or an erection or whatever they called it before. I know a couple of different reporters like to call it erection more than insurrection, but whatever.
They said he participated in an erection.
Donald John Trump incited the erection.
Let's talk about the fact that President Trump incited an erection.
Y'all know what's on y'all's minds.
So here it is. So protesters gathered, shutting down the largest cafeteria on the Senate side of Capitol Hill, making their voices heard, going back and forth with cops.
They should arrest every single one of these people just for being there, call it domestic terrorism, and then send these people to prison. These people mounted a protest inside Capitol Hill in the biggest cafeteria there. So apparently this was over Gaza. I've said this before, I'm going to say it again. If you were that invested in what's going on over there, take a flight over there and help them. Go over there. See how you like it. Big thank you to American Heart for Gold for sponsoring today's video. I had a conversation recently with the president of American Heart for Gold about the current situation of America. And one of the points that I brought up is the amount of cybersecurity issues that this country is having. In fact, the FBI warned about it.
PRC hackers are targeting our critical infrastructure.
The warning from the FBI about China's cyber attacks against the U.S. and how it can completely destroy the infrastructure. And I think it's a really good point to mention about people who are, you know, firmly in the stock market or firmly into crypto and don't have a lot or aren't diversified into precious metals. And I think you just said it.
Several scenarios over the past couple of years where, you know, with FTX, Binance, that's just on the crypto side. When you're going to need your gold, it's typically going to be during one of those black swan events, right? You know, and when you're trying to pull your money out and you need it in a hurry, that's when it's going to be an issue to get it out.
Banks don't keep a ton of money anymore. So if something happens in America and there are 1,000 people lined up in front of a bank to pull their cash out, sorry, we don't have it. So I asked American Heart for Gold to give y'all an awesome deal. With your first purchase, they will give you up to $5,000 of free silver. All you have to do is call 844-940-0662 or text HEAVY to 65532. You'll talk to one of their advisors, great people over there. They'll get you set up, whether it's you're turning a 401k, an IRA, or just cash into precious metals to hedge against inflation and basically have an insurance policy against what's going on in America. Meanwhile, the movie Civil War is coming out, and the cast of that movie believes that January 6th was a legitimate insurrection. So we can all imagine how that movie's going to go.
And the last few years have, you know, that's how it's felt, and it's felt on edge. And January 6th, you know, seeing an actual attempted insurrection by Americans.
Incited the erection.
The invasion of the Capitol that happened here in the U.S., it happened exactly in the same way in Brazil.
I mean, Hollywood really made a movie to where our government is firing on us with a cast who believes that we're just all a bunch of domestic terrorists. So I'm going to play some footage here, and I want you to tell me which one looks worse. Also, for the Israel one, did one of these people get shot like Ashley Babbitt did?
Protesters queue up in neat little lines. They give each other tours outside the speaker's office. They take cheerful selfies and they smile. They're not destroying the Capitol. They obviously revere the Capitol.
People are dying in Gaza. People are dying in Gaza.
I don't really see much of a difference, do you? So once again, like I said in the beginning, this is an opportunity for our government to show the American people that they are at least consistent in their values. Even if they're bad, be consistent. Arrest all these people and send them to prison. You want to make a statement that nobody can do this again? Nobody can do a January 6th again? Nobody can do this?
Anti-Israel protesters just shut down the largest cafeteria on the Senate side, and they were chanting, according to our producers there, and they were saying that the Capitol Police are chanting everybody out or be placed under arrest, and the protesters were shouting back, this is the house of the people. The Senate can't eat until Gaza eats. Fox News has now learned that many of those activists are the same ones who interrupted Secretary Lloyd Austin's testimony earlier today during a Senate Armed Services hearing that was looking into the military budget.
Arrest all of them and have them all charged. You won't do it because guess what will happen? There will be protests in the streets. There will be a whole nother 2020 as far as riots go. And these people who are anti-Gaza or anti-Israel, they're going to lose their minds. So of course your balls disappear and you act like it didn't happen. Or you act like it was different. There's no difference. Does it matter who the person is? Or does the action matter?